want to have a more beautiful, lush lawn, then you're in the right place, because today we're talking about lawn care for fall and winter. And our guest speaker is Tom Stuart. He's Doctor-Certified Lawn Care Specialist and a former employee of Marshall Grain. We're glad to have him back again today. And he's going to answer all your questions, so stand by and we'll get started.
Thanks, Joyce. Okay, good morning, everybody. Question one is, why are we talking about lawns in the fall? Because what we're trying to do now is you're trying to get your soil ready for the winter. Your grass is going to be dormant, but the roots and everything that's in the soil itself is still going to be alive and still be beneficial microbes. So, in other words, the best way of having a good lawn is you need to have good soil, and you have to start there first. And the best thing to do is start from the scratch. Now, if you have a new lawn that you're going to be putting in, or you're moving and you have a new lawn putting in it, having it put in, I would start with trying to get lava sand, green sand, and get those mixed in. There's been some talk about it using expanded shell. Expanded shell is a man-made. So your better bet is to get some decomposed granite or something that you can use to keep the soil loose up. If you can get molasses also mixed in there at the same time, what you're trying to do is you're trying to build the soil. Once you have the soil established, then you can come in with your grass. Now, if you already have grass established and you're having issues with weeds, we've had a lot of issues with the weather. Everybody knows we've been in 105, 109 in the green, and the grass is just suffering. My grass suffered a little bit, but considering I have been organic for several years now, and with the help of Howard, I've got my grass to where it is out. It's really nice, green, and lush. Even this summer was nice. It was that way. Fertilizing. I use the fertilizer 4 times a year, which is the 422 right down here. That's what I've been using. As far as organic fertilizer, it's a lot better than the ones you get in the stores. The reason is, I won't name them, but it starts with an S. There's a lot have salts in the fertilizer. And if you're putting that in your yard, then it's hurting the everything that you have in the yard. If you're trying to build microbes in the yard, you need to make sure that you continually give it what it needs. The fertilizer that they have at the big box stores, if you read all the what's in the ingredients in the fertilizer, it tells you it's salts. Just read exactly what is in there. If you have to, just Google everything that's in there. Find out what is actually in there. The 422 that I'm using right here, that I use, it's chicken. It's a chicken manure. My wife cannot stand it because the smell, but she will say it does work really well. If we've had weeds this year, 30% vinegar works really well. Now, if you're going to use the 30% on the weeds, then what I would do is also get maybe 1 or 2 ounces of Dawn or palm oil or something like that. And what that does, it makes it sticky, and it sticks to the roots. It sticks to the foliage of the weed, and that way it will kill it. I love this stuff. This is another one, but one thing about the 30% I forgot to say is it will kill whatever you put on there. So if you have St. Augustine, Bermuda, or Zoysia, it will kill it. So you have to make sure that you isolate this. A good thing that I learned was, if the toilet rolls that you have, if you will save those, and if you have a situation where you had just one weed you want to kill, you put the toilet roll on that, you get a sprayer, like the Weed Crush, you spray it down there, and it keeps it from having an overspray. So it will not kill anything other than what you're actually directing it to. Another one is Agrolon. Agrolon is really good. If anybody's had any issues with dogweed, this is the one product that will actually get rid of it. And I've used this exclusively. And everything I'll tell you is stuff I have used. One thing, I'm going to go back. If you're building your soil, azomite. Okay, everybody knows what we take vitamins, right? You know what we take vitamins? Because there's no minerals or vitamins in the soil. Azomite will actually put those back into the soil. We use this when we do any kind of fertilizing. I will put this down if I can get away from my wife, because she uses this for her potting plants. I put it down once a year, and it's kind of like putting down the nematodes. It's just one-time shot. You put this down anytime. If you're fixing to fertilize and you have not put this down, I will put this down pretty much after you have put down your fertilizer. Another thing that's fixing to come up right now is weeds are going to be coming out. So now is the time to put your weed pre-emergent down. You can either use the granular or the meal. Let me tell you the difference between the granular and the meal. The granular is like a fertilizer. It will go down. The meal, if you put it down on a windy day, you will look like you have been fixed for catfish fry, because it will go everywhere. The difference is it's already ready to go down, and it's going to go to work immediately. Whereas the granular is going to take a couple of days for it to break apart. One difference between what we have here and the other products from the big box stores is they will tell you water within 24 hours. Okay, you have to do that because they're made of salt. If you have had a lawn service come out and they have dropped some stuff, some of their fertilizer down, you'll know it will kill that area. So that's the reason why on the organics, you can put it down. You don't have to water it in right then. It's not going to start working until you water it in, but it will still work. Any questions yet?
Now the pulverized, can you put that on the grass? Will it in the grass or just on the weeds?
You can spray this on the lawn too.
Okay.
Because it's just going to hit the weeds. But now one thing I do want to say, on the pre-emergence, they're not going to hit all the weeds, because for this to work, those have to have seeds. So anytime you put a pre-emergent down, you don't want to put anything that's going to have any kind of seeds. So if you're going to put down ryegrass or rye seed, you can't put this down and put that down at the same time, because it won't germinate. Okay, you can actually go in, dig up an area, and if you have 10 grubs within a certain area, then you have a grub issue. The best thing to do was earlier this year, or Joyce, what do you think? Nematodes, do you think it was still?
Nematodes will help with grub worms, but you may not have grub worms.
Yeah, it could be grubs. Well, there's several things it could be. Grubs. What kind of grass you have?
St. Augustine.
I don't want to say that word. There's St. Augustine decline. There is chinch bug, and there is brown patch. If you have chinch bugs, the reason you have chinch bugs is chinch bugs like dry, drought conditions. They don't like anything that's wet. If you put water down there, they're going to leave. So the best way I found about chinch bugs is get a white sheet of paper, and an area where they have, where the area is where they have not hit, go to that area and get a white piece of paper and just take your finger and just go like this. And look, chinch bugs are going to be red, they're going to be black, and they're going to have wings. Now if you have chinch bugs, we have a white powder that will work on it. Yeah, ProGuard.
For chinch bugs, what we recommend is usually with chinch bugs you see patches, and they usually come from the outer edges and work their way in. And the patches that are already brown, They've already been there and gone.
They're late, yeah.
So where they are is going to be around the green edges of those brown patches. Because they kind of move in a group. And so that's the area that you want to treat. But yeah, you want to use plugs or sod to recycle.
Yeah, because compost is a fertilizer too. So anything that's organic like that is going to work on your lawn. If you haven't, there's a lot of people who have not watered their lawn because they're worried about water bill. But you know, if you have the issue where you don't water, then you're just inviting pests and issues. I water twice a week, no more. You don't have to water. You can create brown patch with more water. And another thing, if you have sprinklers, make sure they're actually working. I water at 2 o'clock in the morning. So that way everything is in there before the sun comes up. Because you got to remember also, if you water later, I know they're talking about evaporation, but what they also don't remember is when you're putting water on grass when it's hot, water is a mirror, which means you can actually burn your grass.
Well, somebody said if you do it too early in the morning, then you can get black spot or something.
It's actually more in the evening, like from 6 o'clock. If you water at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, up to about 10 o'clock at night, yeah, you can. That's another way of getting it. Organic, you can put down any time. Organic, you do not have to water in the day you put it down. It doesn't start working until you water it in, but
Foliar spray, do you have any recommendations on foliar spray? Or?
they're good. They are good because plants take it in two ways, root system and foliage. And that's what I was talking about on the grass and the watering. Be careful, because if you do a foliage spray, you got to make sure that the sun's not going to be coming up pretty soon, because you're going to burn that plant. Because it acts as a mirror.
So any products you recommend on the foliar side?
Fish and seaweed. Fish and seaweed. It's already mixed, and it works. It works. So anything else? We good?
I think we're good.
All right, Joyce.